everyone in the conference room immediately. My name is Jalen White, and this is day 5 on My Black Job. Can somebody tell me what a black job is? What a black job is. I just discovered that song on Instagram, and I don't know who it's by, but I am obsessed because will somebody tell me what a black job is? What's up, coworkers? We are back again. And today I'm going to be talking about all things comedy, my love for it, who and what inspires me, and what I plan to do in it. So, before we get into that, let's go ahead and catch up really quick. Now, I know you guys can tell I've been really congested today. And so I kind of sound a little gross, but we needed to come on the mic and shoot our shit for the week. And let's start off with LA. Now, you know you need an ass whooping. You know you need an ass whooping. This heat wave that has come through has been something vicious. Baby, I cannot focus. I can't think straight. I don't even want to do anything. I'm not lying. My ball sack has been so sweaty. I swear to God, I've sweated one of my testicles out. It's just been too fucking hot for anything. I saw earlier that it was saying that it was 104. And some people were posting on their Instagram that their weather app was saying that it was 110 in some areas. And I'm like, this is crazy. Growing up, the saints always said, well, hell is hotter. Listen, clearly God is either preparing me for my future in hell, or I'd argue that this is hell on earth. I'm sick of it. But tomorrow I'm going to find myself in some good air conditioning. So we're very enthused about that. But in other news, I took some headshots earlier this week and I got to see some proofs. And I'm just not pleased. But I knew that I'm just hard on myself, you know. And so I felt like I didn't go in there and for the camera really give my best. But I at least got something that I could work with for now. But I was about to have a nervous breakdown. I'm telling you, because I really had to force myself to deal with the things that I'm insecure about and the things that I want to work on, and to just be a little bit more mindful about what I'm giving, how I'm presenting, and how I feel about myself in the interim. And so this all has been really challenging for me, but I'm really committed to following through and just seeing what's on the other side of doing all of this stuff. Like I said in last week's episode, like, I hate being photographed. Like, I just deflate. I do. Like, I'm focused on everything, you know, that I see negative about myself. And it's not the healthiest of experience, but I am actively committed to working through it. But it was challenging, but we got through and it's over, and it's up from here. Ooh, I sound like I have a speech impediment, Jesus. I don't know. I'm stuffy, man. Oh, I watched that movie, The Deliverance, the Lee Daniels film with Andra, Monique, Glenn Close, and Aunjanue Ellis, who is fantastic in everything that she does. I'm like, the moment I see her name anywhere, I'm like, Aunjanue is going to bring all of the good shit. At first, when I watched the movie, so I watched it a few times. At first, I love horror, and I just wasn't like moved by the horror aspect of it. But when I watched it again, there was definitely some parts of the storytelling that I just really resonated with, and how the movie absolutely deals with single parenthood and how Black women are not believed. And oftentimes Black single mothers have a fight that they ensue every day that most people really can't fathom. And sometimes we look at these women and we look at them as being aggressive or mean or having a negative attitude, when this woman is really just like navigating. Well, some people are shitty people too, right? there's also that, but most of the times, like, these women are really just trying to navigate and make ends meet for themselves and their family at home. And so you really get to watch that struggle. And then she moves in her mother, and I'm speaking of Andra Day. So Andra Day then moves in her mother, Glenn Close, who is also sick. Spoiler! But she moves her in, and you just kind of see their dynamics. And Glenn Close's character has found, faith. And so, she's transitioning as a person, but you kind of still see glimpses of who she may have been, before you come into the story. Like, she might have been a little fast, like she loves the black men. And then she also was incredibly abusive, and clearly from Andra Day's storyline, alcoholism is a part of their story. And so I imagine Glenn Close was probably like wild in her character, that is. And let's just talk about Glenn Close for a minute. We have never seen her do anything like this. And I've been watching interviews and Q&As around this movie, and how it took her a minute to kind of find it and trust herself to find it, because it's just kind of like, what the fuck? I can smell your nappy pussy. It's just like, she gagged us on every turn. Just everything that she did was really connected and good. And I mean, she just never disappoints, and she's really a character actor. And Monique has never disappointed anybody acting wise, first of all. Also, so I was really pleased with Monique. I thought those scenes were funny, how she would exchange the looks in her, like, her character's level of comfortability, like just kind of barging in for her own kind of reasons, and, shooting her shit and not being scared of how they may respond. And like, just her banter with Glenn Close, fuck, fuck your mama with her cockeyed ass. Like, that shit was just crazy talk. But overall, I give it like a 8.5 out of 10. Like I said, to me, there was some components around horror. And I also grew up in the church. So, I think, first of all, just tackling that whole concept of demonic possession is complex. And that's really not supposed to be the center of this story. And I do understand that. But yeah, it was just like, it didn't give me that fright like the original Exorcist did. And I guess that, like, when I watch those types of movies that deal with like demonic possession, I kind of anticipate that level of fright and that scare, that rush. But overall, I mean, it was good. Like, I really enjoyed everyone's acting, even what's his name, Caleb from Stranger Things, and the other two new faces that were introduced to me that played Andra's youngest son and daughter. And yeah, I thought it was cool, but everybody's going crazy about it. And definitely Glenn Close gave some viral, memorable ass scenes. I can smell your nappy pussy. Andra said she's put her hands on bitches for far less. And Glenn Close looked at her and said, "Do it, bitch." I lived, and I know people were on Twitter in an uproar because they were like, Lee Daniels is in interviews saying, like, every black person knows a white woman like this. The world might not know her, but she's not new to the community. And black Twitter was like all sensitive about it. And it's just like, some of us do know those types of white women, where you kind of don't get on her head. She's not necessarily a Rachel Dolezal, so you don't consider or think of it as appropriating. This is where she lives. This is what she knows, and the relationships that she keeps. And so, with that is unique. It's, it's a sharing of the culture, I guess one would say, which sounds concerning saying that out loud now. But like, I know a couple of ladies like this. Like, hell, I had a friend that used to color my hair, and she loved black men, and you know what I mean? And she could cook, And, I fuck with her. And I love that lady online, Miss Henry. Listen, she was like, I'm sick of people in they vague fucking statements. She was like, if you ain't never seen a boss, bitch, you looking at one. Bitch, I handles big business. I live for those types of people. But and Lee Daniels just put he highlighted that for us, and overall I thought it was good. But and people are going to talk, but I fuck with everything that Lee Daniels does. Period. Point blank. Full stop. I'm excited for Tuesday. I'm excited for the debates. I'm excited to see Trump get his ass handed to him, although he's been kind of putting in the atmosphere that he's really not preparing. And I mean, obviously, you can tell in the shit that he's doing right now publicly, interviewing, that he really has no idea what he's talking about, or I feel like he doesn't even know what he's talking about or doing. But we knew that, you know. But I do secretly feel like he's no fool, and so I would never underestimate our opponent. I think he is absolutely preparing, but Kamala is being sure and letting the people know, no, she is absolutely preparing and training and doing what she needs to do. And I can't wait to see her bring that energy as a former prosecutor, as a former senator, as a former attorney general, and as a vice president. I'm excited to see her run circles around him and really take an opportunity to discuss policy in a way that'll be visceral for people, and people can connect to these larger issues that, we've all been kind of discussing. And so I'm excited about the debate. And I hope that you all are registering to vote and making sure that you are committed to participating in the process. I'm not going to never try to tell anybody who to vote for. It's obvious who I'm voting for. It won't be stubby fingers. I'll tell you that. But I encourage everyone to participate in our democracy, especially when you look like me, because people have died and lost their lives and sacrificed their lives for us to have certain liberties, so we can participate in this larger scheme of creating a country that we'd be proud of. And like I've always said, it doesn't start and stop with just the binary of the president and vice president of the United States, but being concerned with what's going on around you locally, making sure we're getting the right people into Congress, into Senate, and definitely paying attention to who's in positions of power right now and making sure that we focus holding them accountable. But moving on, because that was almost like a drab. I mean, but that's politics in a nutshell. I feel like it low key is like, ugh, oh my God. But at the same time, many of us really don't have the privilege to not engage, or at the very least try to learn at a surface level. And so I would just want to continue to encourage everybody to continue learning and to continue questioning and sourcing information and doing your research, and not being like people out there that we know. And I'm obviously talking about Stubby Fingers and his not so smart followers, but just spewing out things that are not factual or rooted in any truth. So I challenge everyone to just do their research before they open up their fucking mouth. Because there's nothing worse than somebody that doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about when it really matters, And if you're one of those type of people, I encourage you to shut up. Hopefully you shut up now because you're listening to me. I used to be you. Said me never. Okay, folks. Listen, coworkers, family, and friends. I feel like I had something else to discuss, but moving on, I wanted to come on and talk about comedy. It has been that abusive boyfriend that I can't break up with, that I don't want to break up with. It's been an interesting journey, and I've learned to really love it in a way that I feel like I haven't been before, and I'm able to kind of take myself a little bit more seriously. I feel like starting comedy in 2017, it was because the acting school forced me to take a stand-up comedy class. Well, all of us, that is, I'm just singling me out. Well, this is about me. And I was not good. I, you know, I mean, I may still not be good, but I'm better than what I was. No, like I just didn't take it seriously. I know that I had studied and I have always admired comedians and comedic actors, and I've always been like a fan and felt connected to the genre, but not necessarily somebody performing the genre, creating and existing in the genre. And I remember the first assignment we got was to um, find a bit from your favorite comedian or one of your faves and come in, memorize it, and come in and try to deliver it. And so I tried to memorize one of Mike Epps' bits, right? You know, that bit where he's like, white kids versus black kids. Like white kids be like, fuck you, mommy, and all of that type of stuff. And so I was like, oh, easy, because I understand the concept, right? Just how I explained it, I get it. And I thought it would be easy. So I fucked off that day, and I got really stoned with my homegirl. And then we went to class, and it was time to get on stage, and I was a mumbling idiot. And so I was like, oh, I'm not. I look crazy. And there's so many other ways and places in which I can look crazy and embarrass myself. This won't be one. And I had to come back to class after ditching for weeks after that because I couldn't afford to fail that class. This was the last term of school. And I came back, and they were getting up there rehearsing material, and I was full of anxiety. And I just remember sitting in a theater and leaning forward to my homegirl and be like, what does he mean? Speaking of the teacher, what does he mean by get up there and I want to see your 6-minute material? Because, you know, we're preparing for our first real professional time to perform at the Comedy Store in the original room. And I leaned forward and said in my homegirl's ear, I said, bitch, what material? She said, the 6 minutes that we've been writing. And I knew at that moment that she had betrayed me because she had been going to class. I sat there while I watched people go on stage, and I sat there, and on a piece of scrap paper, I just used my anxiety and I started coming up with shit. And this was while Stubby Fingers was in office, and so, you know, the jokes were writing themselves, really. And I got up, and it worked, and people were into it, but I still wasn't connected to it. And I performed, and I kept getting booked, and I just kept doing it. Like, I just didn't stop doing it, but I feel like my heart hasn't been in it this entire time. And now it feels like it is. Like now, after several years, in a few years, I'm acting like I've done it for like 35 years. Goes. But in these few years, like now I can say that it's meaningful to me. And now when I go study people, it means so much to me, and it hits differently now. For me, it's so hard to say who my favorite comedian is because there's so many people, from Richard Pryor to George Carlin to it's so many people, to Andy Kaufman, to Robin Williams, to Bernie Mac. And I've always been really a fan of like female comedy as well. I think that's a part of how I run off at the mouth. Like, it's from watching women, really. and like I've always connected to like Monique and Sommore and Laura Hayes, Melanie Camacho, uh, Thea Vidal, Suck a Dick, Change a Life. Okay. Um, so many women, you know, I should have wrote out a list because there's so many comedians. Lavelle Crawford, uh, that bit is always from that one special where he was like, his mama would tell him, when you go into the grocery store, don't touch shit, don't ask for shit. Because when you fuck up, when you do, I'm going to take you for a down, for a ride down by the lake. And that shit used to tickle me no matter how many times I heard it, because that's how good it is. For me, legend, icon, forever in my heart is Red Fox. Sanford and Son is always going to be one of my favorite sitcoms of all time. Miss Thing in that show, why is her name escaping me? I know her name every other day. I hate you, sucker. Why is her name slipping me? But I love her. I'm just gonna post something of her because I can't think of her name right now. But she definitely, that energy has poured into me. Jennifer Lewis, is somebody that I'm a huge fan of. And I mean, it might not be traditional stand up, but she's like a full one woman act. Jim Carrey, Eddie Murphy. Sometimes when I think about Eddie Murphy, I always then think about like Andy Kaufman and his character work, because that's what I hope to really be able to do. Like, I think the Wayans family is really excellent at like character work and like physical comedy. And I really want to be able to tap in really in getting in my body and like feeling really grounded in it. Tommy Davidson kills it every time. I was watching, they brought Comic View back. Kevin Hart and Mike Epps brought that back, and it's on BET Plus. And I watched it, and they had people that like I like, Takora Williams, Brisha Webb. I think DC Youngfly was on there. It was a couple of other people, but like nothing hit like when Tommy Davidson came through, and he just like rocked it. Speaking of the Wayans, Keenan Wayans and Damon Wayans, to me, I've been watching interviews of Marlon speaking about In Living Color. He did Club Shay Shay, because fuck Vlad. I watch a lot of In Living Color, and I've seen videos of like Damon doing his thing and just how he's like free on stage, like where it doesn't make sense. It's kind of magical, and Keenan is just like brilliant, and it's like ever flowing. It's like somebody that can write, edit, and execute at the same time. Like it's interesting. And Bernie Mac, I know I mentioned him already, but now I'm like, I can go individually now. Like Bernie Mac, I would say for me is guts, is guts. And it's like his stage persona is really like authentically kind of him. Like it feels authentic. The Bernie Mac show felt like that. It felt like your uncle that makes a lot of money. You know what I mean? That's still kind of the same, but he's bougie now. Comedy is just one of those things where it's very subjective. Like everybody doesn't like the same people. Everybody doesn't find all the same things funny. But it's something that's, I don't know, just magical to me, watching somebody talk their shit their way. Because I mean, there's nothing to talk about. There's no topics that have never been covered, and if you think they are, you've never learned about George Carlin. You know, there's George Carlin has covered everything, and his organization was scientific. Wayans said in his Club Shay Shay interview, he was like, when he started doing stand up, he was scared to do stand up because all of his siblings were literally doing stand up and great at it. And it's like, what does he have to say? Because hell, they're all in the family. They're telling all of the fucking stories. So what does he have left to tell? And he was like, and then I realized that I have my point of view through my own experience. And that's essentially, I think, what makes stand up even just a dope profession or hobby for some to do, just because it's an opportunity to take your experience, the good, the bad, the indifferent, and kind of morph it into something that makes people resonate with it, but in this form of laughter and carefreeness. And my hope for continuing stand up is that I am able to do that for people, make them connect to topics or things that I'm sharing that may have been dark for me, or actively dark, or complicated, but they see themselves in it and they feel at the very least like they can keep kind of going, keep pushing. I want people to feel like they found like a bit of escapism in what I'm presenting for the moment. And obviously on a surface level, I want to fucking make people laugh. I want to make people laugh. I want to have material that makes people fall out of their seats, where people just can't get enough, where they keep wanting it. I want to be like how crack was when it was originally dropped off in the black neighborhoods by the government. That's how good I want to be. And really, to just keep it a buck, I want to be fucking funny. Funny. You know what I mean? Because that's what this really is about, also, at the end of the day. I mean, we could have all these deep kind of philosophical thoughts about, wanting to be representation and wanting to give something meaningful to people. But really at the core, I want to make people laugh and hope through what I'm giving that it does all that deep shit in between. And I feel like that's the making of the makeup, really, of all of the people that I listed, and that makes them great. They are funny as hell, and then they do all that good jazz for you in between. You feel seen, you feel represented, you feel heard. You were in fellowship, you felt community. And so that's what I really aim to do with this shit in a nutshell. And like I said, I'm in the incubator. I'm in the kitchen cooking, and I'm excited. Comedy, my debut comedy album is coming May 2025, and I can't wait to show what the fuck I can do. I'm excited for people to see. I want you guys to keep tuning in to My Black Job, and to tell a friend, and to tell them to tell a friend, and to tell that friend to tell their mama, because I just want to connect. I really am here to create community through healing, through the art of laughter and humor. And I hope today you guys enjoyed this show. It was a little chaotic, but that's what I came to do. Create confusion. I came to fuck shit up, truthfully. No, I'm excited for you guys to see what's coming and what's in store. Like, I'm just ready to work, and mark my fucking words. A few years from now, I'm going to own my own goddamn production company, and I will be developing content that matters. And so stay in tune. Listen, I'm a little overdue and it's time to clock on out. So I'll see you next week for another episode of My Black Job. And I'll be talking about whatever I decide that week. See ya. Bye.